People don't follow the loudest voice. They follow the clearest mind. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever replayed a conversation in your head and thought, I should have handled that better? Have you ever watched someone speak calmly under pressure and wondered why people instantly respect them? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's control. Right now, attention spans are short. People scroll fast, they judge fast. In seconds, they decide whether you sound confident or confused, whether you lead or hesitate, whether you influence or get ignored. The truth is simple. Your thoughts create your tone. Your tone shapes how people feel about you, and how people feel decides whether they trust you. In this video, you're going to learn how to train your mind to stay clear, how to speak so people actually listen, and how to understand what drives human behavior. These are real skills for real-life conversations at work, at home, anywhere. If you want stronger presence, sharper thinking, and real influence, stay with me. This could change how people respond to you starting today. Chapter 1. Rewire your thinking patterns to break limiting beliefs. I want you to hear this clearly. The way you think is shaping your entire life right now. Not your bank account, not your background, not your past mistakes. Your thinking, the private conversations you have with yourself when no one else is around. The quiet sentences that run through your mind when you wake up and when you go to sleep. That is where everything begins. Most people never question their thinking patterns. They wake up with the same thoughts they had yesterday. They react the same way to pressure. They talk to themselves the same way after a mistake. They carry beliefs that were handed to them years ago by parents, teachers, friends, or one painful experience. And they never stop to ask, is this belief even true? Is this thought helping me build a better future? If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must start by rewiring your thinking patterns. You must break the beliefs that are holding you back, because a limited belief will limit your behavior, and limited behavior will limit your results. Think about how powerful a belief is. If you believe you are not smart enough, you will hesitate to speak up. If you believe people do not respect you, you will walk into a room already feeling small. If you believe success is for other people, you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress. You will avoid risks. You will shrink your goals. You will talk yourself out of opportunities. Now, here is the good news. Beliefs are not facts. They are repeated thoughts that feel true because you have practiced them long enough, and what has been practiced can be replaced. Rewiring your thinking begins with awareness. You must become conscious of your mental habits. Pay attention to the words you use in your own mind. When something goes wrong, do you immediately blame yourself and say, I always mess things up? When you see someone successful, do you think, that could never be me? When you face a challenge, do you think, this is too hard? Those sentences matter. They are shaping your confidence and your behavior. The next time you feel doubt, slow down, notice the thought. Do not judge it. Just observe it. Feel how it affects your body. Maybe your shoulders drop. Maybe your stomach tightens. Maybe your energy drops. That is the physical effect of a belief. Your body responds to what your mind repeats. Now ask yourself a powerful question. Is this thought helping me move forward? If the answer is no, it has to go. Replacing a limiting belief does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing a stronger belief that pushes you to act. Instead of saying, I am not good at speaking, say, I am learning to speak with confidence. Instead of saying, I always fail, say, I am improving every time I try. Feel the difference. One sentence shuts you down, the other keeps you in motion. Rewiring your thinking requires repetition. You cannot change years of conditioning in one day. You must practice new thoughts daily. Write them down, speak them out loud, read them every morning, let them sink in. Over time, the new belief starts to feel normal, and when it feels normal, your behavior changes. You see, behavior always follows belief. If you believe you deserve respect, you will stand taller, you will make eye contact, you will speak clearly. If you believe your ideas matter, you will share them without apology, and people respond to that energy. They respond to certainty. This is how influence begins, not with clever words, not with tricks, but with internal certainty. People can sense when you believe in yourself. They can hear it in your tone. They can see it in your posture. They can feel it in your presence. But here is something deeper. Many limiting beliefs are rooted in emotional experiences. Maybe you were laughed at once. Maybe you were criticized harshly. Maybe someone important told you that you were not good enough. That moment created a belief, and you have been carrying it ever since. To break it, you must face it. Think about that memory. Feel what you felt. Notice the disappointment or embarrassment. And then understand something important. One moment does not define your potential. One opinion does not define your value. That experience was an event, not a life sentence. When you separate the event from your identity, you take back control. Another powerful step in rewiring your thinking is choosing better inputs. What are you feeding your mind every day? If you constantly listen to negative people, if you scroll through content that makes you feel inadequate, if you replay your failures again and again, your mind will stay stuck in limitation. Feed your mind growth. Read books that challenge you. Listen to voices that lift you. Spend time with people who expect more from you. The environment you choose will shape the beliefs you build. Now think about how this affects the way you speak. If you believe you are capable, your words carry strength. If you believe you are learning and growing, you speak with hope. Your language shifts from excuses to responsibility. Instead of saying, "I cannot do this because of them," you say, "I will find a way." Instead of saying, "This is unfair," you say, "I will respond with discipline." People are drawn to that kind of thinking. It feels steady. It feels grounded. It feels trustworthy. Rewiring your thinking also requires discipline during difficult moments. Anyone can think positively when things are easy. The real test comes when you are under pressure, when someone criticizes you, when you face rejection, when a plan fails. In that moment, your old beliefs will try to come back. You will hear that familiar voice telling you to quit, or shrink, or blame. This is where growth happens. Take a breath, slow your reaction, choose your response. Tell yourself, "I can handle this, I can learn from this, I can grow through this." Feel the strength in that decision. It builds resilience, and resilience builds influence. People respect someone who stays steady in hard times. Here is another truth. The way you think about yourself becomes the standard others use to treat you. If you constantly put yourself down, others will not take you seriously. If you hesitate and apologize for every idea, people will overlook your voice. But when you hold yourself with quiet confidence, when your thinking supports your value, people adjust their perception. This is not about arrogance. It is about self-respect. It is about knowing that you are a work in progress and still worthy of growth. Rewiring your thinking also means taking responsibility. It is easy to blame circumstances. It is easy to blame other people. But growth begins when you say, "My results are connected to my decisions." That sentence gives you power, because if your decisions created your current situation, your new decisions can create a better one. Every day, you are shaping your future with the thoughts you choose. Think about that. Each belief is either building you or holding you back. I have seen people transform their lives not because they had more talent, but because they changed how they thought. They stopped saying, "This is just who I am." They started saying, "I can become better." That small shift unlocked new behavior. New behavior created new opportunities. New opportunities created new results. It all began in the mind. So here is the challenge. For the next 30 days, watch your thoughts closely. Write down the limiting beliefs that show up. Question them. Replace them. Speak stronger truths over your life. Act in alignment with those stronger beliefs. You may feel uncomfortable at first. Growth often feels uncomfortable, but stay with it. Your mind is adjusting. Your identity is expanding. When you rewire your thinking, you begin to see yourself differently. When you see yourself differently, you carry yourself differently. When you carry yourself differently, people respond differently. That is how influence grows, not from force, but from internal change. Remember this. Your future is not determined by your past thinking, unless you refuse to change it. You have the ability to choose new beliefs. You have the ability to strengthen your inner dialogue. You have the ability to build a mindset that supports success. Think carefully. Speak deliberately. Act consistently. Break the beliefs that shrink your potential. Replace them with beliefs that demand growth. Practice them daily until they feel natural, and watch how your confidence rises, how your voice strengthens, and how your presence commands respect. Change your thinking, and you change your direction. Change your direction, and you change your destination. It starts inside you, and it starts today.
Chapter 2.
Catch negative self-talk and replace it fast. There is a voice inside your head that speaks all day long. It comments on your performance. It judges your appearance. It predicts your future. It reminds you of your past. Most people never notice how constant that voice is. They accept it as truth. They assume every sentence that shows up in their mind is accurate. That is where the problem begins. Negative self-talk is quiet but powerful. It does not shout. It whispers. It says you are not ready. It says you are behind. It says other people are better. It says you always mess things up. And when you hear those lines often enough, you start acting as if they are facts. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must become skilled at catching negative self-talk fast and replacing it immediately. Because the longer a negative thought stays in your mind, the stronger it becomes. It shapes your mood. It changes your posture. It affects your tone. It influences how you treat other people. Think about a recent moment when something did not go your way. Maybe you made a mistake at work. Maybe someone corrected you in front of others. Maybe you forgot something important. What did your inner voice say? Did it say, "I am so stupid"? Did it say, "I can never get this right"? Did it say, "They probably think I am useless"? Notice how quickly those thoughts show up. They feel automatic. They feel instant. That is because your brain has practiced them. Repetition builds speed. The mind becomes efficient at running the same script. The first step is awareness. You must train yourself to notice the moment negative self-talk appears. Pay attention to emotional shifts. When your mood drops suddenly, when your chest feels tight, when your energy sinks, there is usually a thought behind it. Slow down and ask yourself, what did I just say to myself? You might be surprised at how harsh you sound. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. If a friend made a mistake, you would encourage them. You would say, "It is okay, learn from it, and move forward." But when you make a mistake, your inner voice may attack you. That double standard weakens confidence. Catching negative self-talk means interrupting it. The moment you hear a destructive sentence in your mind, pause. Do not let it continue unchecked. Mentally say stop. Create a clear break. That interruption is powerful. It prevents the thought from building momentum. Now replace it with something stronger and more accurate, not something fake, not something unrealistic, something constructive. If your mind says, "I always fail," replace it with, "I am still learning and improving." If it says, "I am not good enough," replace it with, "I am capable of growth." If it says, "They will not listen to me," replace it with, "I have something valuable to share." Feel the difference in your body when you change the sentence. Negative self-talk drains energy. Constructive self-talk restores it. Your shoulders rise. Your breathing steadies. Your focus sharpens. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing language that supports action. Negative self-talk often exaggerates. It uses words like always and never. It turns one mistake into a permanent identity. That is not truth. That is distortion. When you catch those exaggerations, correct them. Replace always with sometimes. Replace never with not yet. That small adjustment changes your outlook. Instead of feeling trapped, you feel capable. Your inner dialogue directly affects how you speak to others. When you constantly criticize yourself, your tone becomes defensive. You may over-explain, you may hesitate, you may avoid eye contact, but when your inner voice supports you, your external voice becomes steadier. You speak clearly, you state your ideas without apology, you carry quiet confidence. Influence begins with internal alignment. People respond to someone who believes in their own worth. They sense when a person is secure. That security is built through disciplined thinking. There is another layer to negative self-talk. Sometimes it is rooted in comparison. You see someone else succeed, and your mind says, "I will never reach that level." You scroll through images, and your mind says, "I am behind in life." That comparison triggers insecurity. It shifts your focus from growth to self-judgment. Catch that quickly. Comparison steals focus. Replace it with personal responsibility. Instead of thinking, "They are ahead of me," think, "What can I improve today?" Bring your attention back to your own progress. Growth happens when you compete with who you were yesterday, not with who someone else is today. Another common pattern is predicting failure before it happens. You may have a presentation coming up and your mind says, "I will embarrass myself." You may be preparing for a conversation and your mind says, "They will reject me." That kind of thinking weakens performance before you even begin. Replace prediction with preparation. Tell yourself, "I will prepare well and do my best." Focus on effort, not fear. When your self-talk supports preparation, your performance improves naturally. You must also understand that negative self-talk grows stronger in moments of stress. When you are tired, overwhelmed, or under pressure, your mind becomes more reactive. In those moments, discipline matters even more. Slow your breathing. Create space between the event and your interpretation of the event. An event is neutral until you label it. Missing a deadline is an event. Calling yourself irresponsible is a label. Receiving feedback is an event. Calling yourself a failure is a label. Separate facts from interpretation. Then choose an interpretation that pushes you forward. Practice speaking to yourself with respect. Use your name if it helps. Say you can handle this. You have overcome challenges before. Stay steady. That tone builds inner strength. Over time, your mind begins to default to encouragement rather than criticism. Your brain responds to repetition. The more often you replace negative self-talk with constructive language, the more natural it becomes. At first, it will require effort. You will have to consciously interrupt your thoughts. But with practice, your inner voice becomes calmer and stronger. Think about how this changes your influence. When you walk into a room with supportive self-talk, your posture shifts. Your eye contact becomes natural. Your words carry clarity. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are simply expressing your thoughts with confidence. That energy attracts respect. People are drawn to those who manage themselves well. Self-control begins in the mind. If you cannot guide your own thoughts, it is difficult to guide a conversation. Master your inner dialogue, and your external communication improves. There will be days when negative self-talk feels louder. That is normal. Progress does not mean perfection. It means quicker recovery. Instead of spiraling for hours, you catch the thought within minutes. Instead of letting it ruin your day, you reset your focus. Build a daily habit of mental check-ins. Ask yourself in the morning, what tone will I use with myself today? In the evening, ask, did my inner voice support me or weaken me? Awareness builds discipline. Surround yourself with language that strengthens you. Write down a few sentences that represent your best thinking. Read them often. Keep them visible. Train your mind the same way you would train your body, with repetition and intention. Remember this, your inner voice becomes your outer reality. The way you speak to yourself shapes how you show up in every conversation. It shapes how you handle rejection. It shapes how you pursue goals. It shapes how you influence others. Catch negative self-talk quickly. Interrupt it without hesitation. Replace it with words that reflect growth and responsibility. Protect your mind from destructive patterns. Feed it strength daily. You are not your worst thought. You are not defined by a single mistake. You are a work in progress with the ability to improve. Speak to yourself in a way that builds courage. Speak to yourself in a way that demands discipline. Speak to yourself in a way that creates confidence. When your inner voice becomes your ally instead of your critic, your life begins to shift. Your decisions become stronger. Your communication becomes clearer. Your presence becomes powerful. Control the conversation inside your head, and you control the direction of your life.
Chapter 3. Slow down your reactions to choose better responses. There is a small space between what happens to you and what you do next. In that space lies your power. Most people never notice it. Something happens and they react instantly. A harsh comment triggers anger. A delay triggers frustration. A disagreement triggers defensiveness. The reaction feels automatic, almost mechanical. Later, they regret what they said or how they behaved. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must learn to slow down your reactions so you can choose better responses. This skill alone can change your relationships, your career, and your self-respect. A reaction is fast and emotional. A response is thoughtful and controlled. A reaction is driven by impulse. A response is guided by intention. The difference between the two may only be a few seconds, but those seconds matter. Picture a moment when someone criticizes your work. You feel heat rise in your face. Your heart beats faster. Your jaw tightens.
Without thinking, you interrupt them, you defend yourself. Your voice becomes sharp. That is a reaction. It may feel justified in the moment, but it often damages trust. Now imagine the same situation handled differently. You hear the criticism, you feel the same physical signals. Instead of speaking immediately, you pause, you take one slow breath, you let the other person finish, you ask a clarifying question, you respond calmly. That is a response. It shows maturity and strength. Slowing down does not mean being weak, it means being in control. Emotional control is one of the most respected traits in any leader. People trust those who stay steady under pressure. Your body always reacts before your mind has time to evaluate. That is natural. The key is not to eliminate emotion. The key is to manage it. When you notice your pulse increase or your muscles tighten, treat it as a signal. That signal says pause. Train yourself to use simple tools in that moment. Take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it briefly. Exhale slowly. This small action gives your brain time to catch up with your emotions. It clears your thinking. It lowers the intensity. Another powerful method is silence. When someone says something that irritates you, resist the urge to answer immediately. Count to 3 in your head. 3 seconds feels longer than you think. In that short time, you create space for wisdom to enter. Most regrets come from words spoken too quickly. Once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Slowing down protects your reputation. It protects your relationships. It protects your goals. Think about the last argument you witnessed. Often both sides were reacting, not responding. Voices rose. Interruptions increased. Neither person truly listened. The situation escalated. Now imagine one person choosing calm instead. One person choosing to lower their tone. One person choosing to ask a thoughtful question instead of making an accusation. The entire direction of the conversation changes. That is influence. Influence is not about overpowering others. It is about guiding the emotional climate of the interaction. Slowing down your reactions also helps you make smarter decisions. When faced with unexpected news, people often rush into choices they later regret. They quit too quickly. They agree too quickly. They send messages they should have revised. A brief pause allows you to evaluate consequences. Ask yourself in tense moments, what outcome do I want here? That question shifts your focus from emotion to strategy. Instead of trying to win the moment, you start thinking about long-term impact. Consider professional settings. A manager who reacts angrily creates fear. A manager who responds calmly creates respect. Employees feel safer sharing ideas when they know they will not be attacked. Calm behavior encourages open communication. In personal relationships, the same principle applies. When your partner forgets something important, reacting with anger may create distance. Responding with understanding strengthens connection. That does not mean ignoring the issue. It means addressing it with composure. Self-control builds credibility. When people see that you do not lose control under stress, they begin to value your presence. They listen more closely. They trust your judgment. Slowing down also allows you to listen better. When someone is speaking and you are already preparing your reply, you are reacting internally. You are not fully hearing them. But when you quiet your mind and absorb their words, you gain information. Information gives you power. Better responses come from understanding, not assumption. Many conflicts begin because people react to what they think was meant, rather than what was actually said. A pause gives you time to verify. You can say, "Help me understand what you mean." That sentence alone can prevent misunderstanding. Your tone matters as much as your words. When you rush your response, your tone often reflects irritation. Slowing down allows you to choose a steady voice. A steady voice communicates confidence. It lowers tension in the room. Emotional discipline requires practice. You will not master it overnight. Start small. Practice in minor situations. When someone cuts you off in traffic, notice your impulse. Instead of reacting with anger, breathe and move on. When a plan changes unexpectedly, resist complaining immediately. Adjust calmly. These small exercises strengthen your ability to manage bigger challenges later. Emotional control is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. There is also strength in choosing not to respond at all. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every criticism requires a defense. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence, followed by continued focus on your goals. Remember that other people are also influenced by emotion. When someone reacts harshly toward you, they may be driven by stress or insecurity. If you react equally harshly, the situation escalates. If you respond with calm clarity, you interrupt that pattern. Calm behavior has a calming effect. Your steady presence can lower the emotional intensity of others. That is leadership in action. Think about individuals you respect deeply. They likely have one trait in common. They do not rush into emotional reactions. They consider their words. They measure their tone. They think before acting. That composure creates authority. When you slow down your reactions, you also protect your self-image. Acting impulsively can lead to embarrassment. Acting thoughtfully builds pride. You leave conversations feeling strong rather than regretful. Another benefit of slowing down is improved clarity. Strong emotion narrows your thinking. It focuses only on the immediate trigger. A pause expands your perspective. You remember your larger goals. You remember your values. You respond in alignment with who you want to become. Ask yourself during difficult moments, how would my best self handle this? That question raises your standard. It pulls you out of impulse and into intention. Slowing down does not mean avoiding confrontation. It means approaching confrontation with clarity. You can still set boundaries. You can still express disagreement, but you do it with control. You choose your words carefully. You maintain respect. Over time, this practice transforms your reputation. People begin to describe you as steady, thoughtful, and reliable. Those qualities increase your influence in every environment. Your life improves when you control your responses. Your communication becomes stronger. Your relationships become healthier. Your decisions become wiser. Every day presents moments that test your emotional discipline. View them as opportunities. Each pause is a victory. Each thoughtful response builds character. You are not responsible for every event that happens to you, but you are responsible for how you respond. That responsibility gives you power. Slow down, breathe, think, then speak. In that small pause lies the difference between regret and respect.
Chapter 4. Speak with certainty that reduces doubt in others. There is a reason some people speak and the room grows quiet. It is not always because they are the smartest person there. It is not because they use complicated language. It is because they speak with certainty. Their voice carries belief. Their posture shows stability. Their message feels grounded. And when people sense certainty, their own doubt begins to fade. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must learn to speak in a way that reduces doubt in others. Doubt spreads quickly. When a speaker sounds unsure, the listener becomes unsure. When a speaker hesitates constantly, the listener questions the message. But when someone communicates with clarity and conviction, people relax. They feel guided. Certainty begins before you open your mouth. It starts in preparation. When you know your subject deeply, you speak with more confidence. When you have thought through your ideas, your words flow naturally. Preparation removes unnecessary fear. Many people weaken their own message with small habits. They begin sentences with phrases that shrink their authority. They say, "I might be wrong," but they say, "This is probably a bad idea." They say, "I am not an expert," but these statements plant doubt before the idea is even presented. Pay attention to your language. Remove unnecessary disclaimers. State your point clearly. Instead of saying, "I was just thinking maybe we could try something different," say, "I suggest we try this approach." Feel the difference in strength. Your tone matters as much as your words. A strong message delivered in a weak tone loses impact. Speak at a steady pace. Do not rush. Do not mumble. Allow your voice to be heard. Confidence is often communicated through calm rhythm. Eye contact reinforces certainty. When you look at people directly while speaking, they feel your presence. Looking away frequently can signal insecurity. Hold your gaze naturally. It shows that you stand behind your message. Body language also influences how others interpret your certainty. Stand upright. Keep your shoulders relaxed but firm. Avoid constant fidgeting. Small physical movements can distract from your message and create the impression of nervousness. Certainty does not mean arrogance. It does not mean refusing to listen. It means presenting your ideas with clarity and conviction while remaining open to discussion. People respect someone who believes in their position, yet remains respectful of others. Clarity is essential. If your message is confusing, doubt grows.
Organize your thoughts before speaking. Know your main point. Support it with simple reasoning. Keep your message focused. When people understand you easily, they trust you more. Uncertainty often appears through over-explanation. Some people talk excessively because they fear being misunderstood. They repeat themselves. They add unnecessary details. This can weaken authority. Say what needs to be said, and then stop. Silence after a strong statement gives it weight. Certainty also comes from emotional steadiness. If your mood swings during a conversation, people may question your reliability. Maintain composure. Even when discussing challenging topics, keep your voice balanced. Emotional control strengthens credibility. Another important factor is alignment between your words and actions. If you speak confidently but fail to follow through, trust disappears. Certainty must be backed by consistent behavior. When people see that your actions match your statements, their doubt decreases naturally. Consider moments when you felt unsure about a decision. Often, it was because the person explaining it seemed uncertain. Their hesitation transferred to you. Now think about times when someone spoke with calm conviction. Even if you initially had questions, their confidence helped you feel secure. That is influence in action. Your internal belief becomes external reassurance for others. Certainty grows through practice. Start in small conversations. Express your preferences clearly. If someone asks where you would like to eat, give a direct answer instead of saying you do not mind. When discussing ideas at work, share your perspective without minimizing it. Replace vague language with specific statements. Instead of saying, "This might help," say, "This will improve our results because of these reasons." Specific reasoning strengthens your message. Listening carefully also increases certainty. When you understand the concerns of others, you can address them directly. Addressing concerns shows competence. Competence reduces doubt. Do not fear pauses. A brief pause before answering a question signals thoughtfulness. It shows that you consider your words carefully. Rushing to respond can lead to unclear statements. Your breathing influences your voice. Shallow breathing creates tension. Deep breathing supports a steady tone. Before important conversations, take slow breaths to calm your nervous system. A calm body supports a confident voice. Certainty is built through self-trust. When you trust your preparation and your character, your communication reflects that trust. Self-trust develops from keeping promises to yourself. When you follow through on personal goals, your confidence strengthens. People sense authenticity. If you pretend to be confident while internally doubting yourself, others may notice inconsistencies. Build real confidence by improving your skills and knowledge. Growth increases genuine belief. When speaking in front of groups, focus on connection rather than perfection. Trying to appear flawless can increase anxiety. Focus on delivering value. When your intention is to serve, confidence grows naturally. Handling questions with certainty requires composure. If someone challenges you, do not react defensively. Listen fully. Respond calmly. If you do not know the answer, say you will find out. Honesty builds trust. Pretending to know everything damages credibility. Your words should be simple and direct. Complex language can create distance. Clear language builds understanding. Understanding builds trust. Certainty also involves decision-making. Indecisive behavior weakens authority. When you gather enough information, make a decision and stand by it. Adjust if necessary, but avoid constant second-guessing in front of others. Confidence is contagious. When you speak with conviction, others feel safer committing to a direction. Your steadiness becomes a source of reassurance. Remember that doubt is natural. Even strong leaders experience it. The difference lies in how they manage it. They prepare thoroughly. They focus on their purpose. They communicate with clarity. They do not allow temporary uncertainty to dominate their expression. Every conversation is an opportunity to practice. Speak clearly when introducing yourself. Speak clearly when sharing opinions. Speak clearly when setting boundaries. Each moment strengthens your ability. Influence grows when people believe you believe in your own message. Your certainty reduces hesitation in others. It gives them permission to act. Commit to improving daily. Read, learn, reflect, strengthen your knowledge. The more informed you are, the more confidently you will speak. Stand tall, breathe steadily. Choose words that are direct and purposeful. Eliminate phrases that weaken your authority. Maintain composure during disagreement. Follow through on commitments.
Over time, people will describe you as reliable and strong. They will seek your perspective. They will feel confident in your guidance. Speak with certainty, and you help others feel secure. Speak with clarity, and you remove confusion. Speak with conviction, and you build influence. Your voice carries power. Use it with confidence.
Chapter 5. Use eye contact and tone to command respect. Respect is not demanded with loud words. It is earned through presence. Before you say a single sentence, people are already forming an opinion about you. They are watching your eyes. They are listening to your tone. They are sensing your level of confidence. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must understand how powerful eye contact and tone truly are. Your eyes reveal more than your vocabulary ever will. When you avoid looking at someone while speaking, it can signal insecurity or discomfort. When your gaze constantly shifts around the room, it may seem like you are unsure of yourself. On the other hand, steady eye contact communicates strength and honesty. It shows that you are fully present. Eye contact creates connection. When you look someone in the eyes during a conversation, you signal that they matter. You show that you are engaged. People respond positively to that attention. They feel seen. They feel acknowledged. That feeling builds trust. Trust is the foundation of respect. Strong eye contact does not mean staring aggressively. It means holding a natural gaze while speaking and listening. When you speak, look at the person long enough to show confidence. When they speak, maintain attention without distraction. This balance communicates calm authority. Many people struggle with eye contact because of self-doubt. They worry about being judged. They fear appearing awkward. The solution is practice. Start in everyday interactions. When ordering coffee, look at the person serving you. When greeting a colleague, maintain a steady gaze. These small habits build comfort. Your tone carries emotional weight. Two people can say the same sentence, yet one sounds confident while the other sounds unsure. Tone is shaped by breath, pace, and emotional control. If your tone rises at the end of every statement, it may sound like a question, even when it is not. That pattern can reduce authority. Practice finishing your sentences with a steady downward tone. It signals completion and confidence. Speed also matters. Speaking too quickly often reflects nervous energy. Words may blend together. Listeners struggle to follow your message. Slowing your pace allows each word to land clearly. It gives your message strength. Volume influences perception. Speaking too softly can make people strain to hear you. Speaking too loudly can feel aggressive. Aim for a clear, moderate volume that fills the space naturally. Adjust based on the environment, but remain steady. Tone should match intention. If you are delivering serious information, your voice should reflect seriousness. If you are encouraging someone, your tone should carry warmth. Emotional alignment between words and tone increases credibility. Consider how often misunderstandings happen because of tone. A simple phrase can feel supportive or sarcastic, depending on how it is delivered. When you are aware of your tone, you reduce confusion. Respect grows when your voice sounds grounded. Grounded tone comes from relaxed breathing. Tension in your body creates tension in your voice. Before important conversations, take slow breaths. Relax your shoulders. Release tightness in your jaw. A calm body supports a stable tone. Eye contact and tone together create presence. Presence is the feeling that you are fully there in the moment. When someone has presence, others pay attention without being asked. In group setting, distribute your eye contact evenly. Do not focus only on one person. Briefly connect with different individuals across the room. This creates inclusion. People feel involved in your message. Avoid looking at the floor or ceiling while speaking. That breaks connection. Keep your gaze level. Level eye contact communicates equality and strength. When listening, nod slightly to show understanding. Keep your eyes on the speaker. Avoid checking your phone or glancing around. Undivided attention earns respect from others because it shows discipline. Tone also reveals emotional control. When faced with disagreement, your voice may naturally want to rise or sharpen. Instead, keep it steady. Lowering your tone slightly during tense moments can calm the atmosphere. Calm voices reduce escalation. Confidence in tone does not require harshness. You can speak firmly without sounding aggressive. Firmness comes from clarity and controlled delivery. Aggression comes from emotional reactivity. Practice reading aloud. Record your voice if possible. Listen to how you sound. Notice areas where your tone weakens or becomes rushed. Awareness leads to improvement. In professional settings, tone influences leadership perception. A leader who speaks with a clear and measured voice creates stability. A leader who frequently changes tone or sounds uncertain may create confusion. Respect is reinforced when your nonverbal communication aligns with your message. If you speak about confidence but avoid eye contact, people notice the inconsistency. Alignment builds credibility. Eye contact also communicates courage. It shows that you are not hiding. It demonstrates that you stand behind your words. Courage earns admiration. In difficult conversations, maintaining steady eye contact signals sincerity. It shows that you are not avoiding responsibility. Combined with a calm tone, it can transform tense discussions into constructive dialogue. Cultural awareness matters as well. In some environments, intense eye contact may feel uncomfortable. Adapt while maintaining confidence. The goal is connection, not dominance. Your tone reflects how you feel about yourself. If you respect yourself, your voice naturally carries strength. If you doubt yourself, that doubt may appear in your delivery. Building self-respect strengthens communication. When giving feedback, eye contact and tone must communicate fairness. Look at the person directly, speak clearly, avoid sarcasm, maintain a balanced tone that shows professionalism. When receiving praise, accept it with steady eye contact and a clear thank you. Deflecting compliments or looking away can diminish your presence. Every interaction is an opportunity to refine these skills. Practice during meetings, practice during family conversations, practice during casual encounters. Improvement comes through repetition. Remember that people judge credibility within seconds. Strong eye contact and controlled tone help shape that first impression. Once formed, impressions are difficult to change. Your voice is an instrument. Use it intentionally. Control pace, adjust volume, align tone with purpose, pair it with confident eye contact. Respect does not come from force, it comes from self-control and consistency. When others see that you are composed and present, they respond accordingly. You do not need dramatic gestures to command attention. Quiet strength often has greater impact. A steady gaze and a grounded voice can carry more influence than loud words. Train yourself to remain centered. Even when nerves appear, return to your breath. Keep your eyes steady. Keep your tone balanced. As these habits become natural, your influence expands. People listen more closely. They value your input. They feel confident in your leadership. Master your eyes. Master your voice. Master your presence. When your gaze is steady and your tone is strong, respect follows naturally.
Chapter 6. Read emotions in others before you respond. If you truly want to influence people, you must learn to see what is not being said. Words are only a small part of communication. Beneath every sentence, there is emotion. Beneath every opinion, there is a feeling. If you respond only to words and ignore emotions, you will miss the real message. Reading emotions in others before you respond is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It changes how you handle conflict. It changes how you build trust. It changes how people experience you. When someone speaks to you, do not rush to prepare your answer. Observe their face. Notice their eyes. Pay attention to their breathing. Listen to the pace of their voice. These signals reveal what they are feeling. A person may say they are fine, yet their shoulders are tight and their voice sounds strained. Another person may say they disagree, yet their tone is calm and their posture relaxed. Words alone do not tell the full story. Emotions influence behavior more than logic does. If someone feels unheard, they may become defensive. If someone feels respected, they become open. When you recognize what they are feeling, you can respond in a way that meets their emotional need, not just their spoken concern. Start by slowing down your observation. When a conversation begins, take a brief moment to assess the emotional atmosphere. Is the person speaking quickly? Do they avoid eye contact? Are they leaning forward or pulling back? Each detail gives you information. Do not assume. Confirm through gentle questions. You can say, "You seem concerned about this. Is that right?" Or, "I sense this is important to you." When you reflect their emotion accurately, people feel understood. That feeling builds connection. Understanding emotion does not mean absorbing it.
You do not need to take on someone else's frustration or anxiety. Stay steady while acknowledging their state. That balance shows maturity. In professional environments, this skill prevents unnecessary conflict. If a colleague sounds irritated, it may not be about you. They could be under pressure. Instead of reacting defensively, acknowledge their stress and address the issue calmly. In personal relationships, emotional awareness deepens trust. If a family member appears quiet, ask about their day instead of assuming everything is fine. When people feel noticed, they feel valued. Many disagreements escalate because both sides focus on proving their point instead of recognizing feelings. If someone feels disrespected, repeating facts will not solve the problem. Address the emotion first. Say, "I understand this upset you." That sentence lowers tension. To read emotions accurately, you must also manage your own emotional noise. If you are distracted or overwhelmed, you may misinterpret signals. Clear your mind before important conversations. Focus fully on the other person. Empathy strengthens influence. Empathy is not agreeing with everything someone says. It is understanding their experience from their perspective. When people feel understood, they become more willing to listen to your viewpoint. Observe small changes. A slight pause before answering can indicate hesitation. A deeper breath may signal discomfort. Crossed arms might suggest defensiveness. Open posture may signal receptiveness. Practice during everyday interactions. Notice the cashier who looks tired. Notice the coworker who seems unusually quiet. Notice the friend whose smile does not reach their eyes. These observations build emotional awareness. Responding without reading emotion can damage relationships. Imagine someone sharing a concern, and you immediately dismiss it with logic. They may feel ignored. Now imagine you first acknowledge their feeling, and then offer reasoning. The conversation feels balanced. Emotion often drives decision-making. If you want to influence someone toward a goal, understand what motivates them emotionally. Do they value security, recognition, growth? Address those emotional drivers in your communication. Be careful not to overanalyze. Emotional reading should feel natural, not forced. Focus on patterns rather than isolated gestures. One nervous movement does not define a person's entire emotional state. Listening deeply requires patience. Allow the other person to finish speaking. Do not interrupt. Silence often encourages them to reveal more. The more they share, the clearer their emotions become. Ask open-ended questions to explore feelings. Instead of asking, "Are you upset?" ask, "How are you feeling about this situation?" This invites honesty. When someone expresses strong emotion, remain calm. Your stability provides reassurance. If you mirror their intensity, the situation may escalate. Validation is powerful. Validation does not mean agreement. It means acknowledging that their feeling makes sense from their perspective. Saying, "I can see why you feel that way," shows respect. In leadership roles, emotional awareness increases team performance. Employees are more productive when they feel understood. A leader who recognizes stress early can adjust expectations and prevent burnout. During negotiations, reading emotions helps you identify underlying concerns. Someone may argue about price, but their real worry could be risk. Address the deeper concern, and the discussion becomes productive. Pay attention to your own emotional reactions as well. If you feel defensive, ask yourself why. Sometimes another person's emotion triggers your own. Recognize this internally before responding. Cultural differences can influence emotional expression. Some people show feelings openly, others are reserved. Adapt your approach accordingly. Trust builds over time when people feel consistently understood. Emotional intelligence strengthens relationships because it reduces misunderstanding. Practice reflective listening. After someone shares, summarize what you heard. This confirms understanding and corrects misinterpretation. Avoid rushing to fix problems. Sometimes people want to feel heard more than they want solutions. Offering advice too quickly can seem dismissive. Be patient with silence. Silence often signals that someone is processing emotion. Give them space rather than filling it immediately. Your influence grows when others feel safe expressing themselves around you. Emotional awareness creates that safety. Remember that emotions shift. Someone may begin a conversation frustrated but calm down once they feel heard. Stay attentive throughout the exchange. Developing this skill takes time. Stay observant, stay curious, stay open. Reading emotions before responding allows you to choose words that align with the moment. It prevents unnecessary conflict. It strengthens connection. When you respond to both the words and the feelings behind them, your communication becomes powerful. People remember how you made them feel. If they feel respected and understood in your presence, they will trust you, and trust is the foundation of influence.
Chapter 7. Stay steady when others try to provoke you. There will always be people who test you. Some will question your ability. Some will challenge your decisions. Some will use sharp words to see how you react. In those moments, your strength is not measured by how loudly you respond. It is measured by how steady you remain. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must learn to stay steady when others try to provoke you. Provocation is designed to trigger emotion. It pushes buttons. It looks for weakness. When you react impulsively, you hand control to the other person. Remaining steady keeps control in your hands. Provocation can show up in many forms. It might be sarcasm during a meeting. It might be criticism delivered with disrespect. It might be someone interrupting you repeatedly. It might be a comment meant to embarrass you in front of others. In each case, the goal is often to pull you into emotional reaction. The first skill you need is awareness. Notice the physical signs inside you when someone pushes your buttons. Your pulse may increase. Your jaw may tighten. Heat may rise in your face. These signals are normal. They show that your body is preparing for confrontation. Do not panic when you feel these signals. Recognize them as information. They are telling you that you are being tested. Instead of reacting immediately, pause. Breathe slowly. Allow the wave of emotion to pass before speaking. When you remain steady, you change the dynamic. The person attempting to provoke you expects reaction. When they do not get it, they lose leverage. Emotional discipline is a sign of maturity. People respect someone who can maintain composure under pressure. They see reliability. They see leadership. Consider how often arguments escalate because both sides refuse to slow down. One harsh comment leads to another. The situation intensifies. Words are spoken that cannot be taken back. Later, regret follows. Now imagine a different outcome. Someone says something unfair. You listen without interruption. You respond calmly. You address the issue without attacking the person. The tension decreases. You maintain dignity. Dignity is powerful. It protects your reputation. Staying steady does not mean accepting disrespect silently. It means addressing it with control. You can say, I prefer to keep this conversation respectful. You can say, I am open to feedback, but not in that tone. Clear boundaries delivered calmly carry strength. Provocation often comes from insecurity. When someone feels threatened, they may attempt to diminish you. Understanding this can help you avoid taking their words personally. Their behavior reflects their internal state, not your value. Personal attacks lose power when you refuse to internalize them. Another important principle is focus. When provoked, ask yourself what outcome you want. Do you want to win an argument, or do you want to maintain influence? Often responding emotionally may satisfy pride, but damage long-term respect. Choose the outcome that aligns with your growth. Silence can be strategic. Not every comment deserves a response. Sometimes a brief pause followed by continuing your point demonstrates confidence. You show that you are not easily shaken. Eye contact during provocation also matters. Hold a steady gaze. Do not look away nervously. Do not glare aggressively. Maintain a calm expression. Your body language communicates strength even before you speak. Tone plays a role here as well. Lower your voice slightly when tension rises. A controlled tone can reduce intensity in the room. It signals that you are grounded. There will be moments when you feel tempted to prove someone wrong immediately. Resist that urge. Gather your thoughts. Respond with clarity instead of emotion. Staying steady requires internal confidence. When you know your worth, outside comments have less impact. Build that confidence through preparation and consistent effort. The stronger your foundation, the less you are shaken. Think of past situations where you reacted impulsively. Reflect on how it affected the outcome. Now imagine handling those moments with calm strength. How different would the result have been? Growth comes from learning.
In professional settings, provocation may appear as subtle undermining. Someone may question your authority publicly. Instead of reacting defensively, respond with facts delivered calmly. Keep your focus on the issue, not the attack. In personal settings, provocation might appear as teasing that crosses boundaries. Address it firmly but respectfully. You can say, "I do not find that funny." Maintain eye contact. Keep your voice steady. When others see that you do not lose control easily, they think twice before attempting to provoke you again. Emotional control also protects your mental health. Reacting intensely drains energy. Staying steady conserves it. You walk away from difficult interactions feeling composed rather than exhausted. Practice self-reflection after challenging encounters. Ask yourself what triggered you. Identify patterns. Preparation reduces surprise in future situations. Physical habits support emotional steadiness. Regular exercise releases tension. Adequate rest improves patience. Healthy routines strengthen resilience. Your identity should not depend on approval from others. When you rely too heavily on validation, criticism feels devastating. When you ground your identity in personal values and consistent effort, external noise loses strength. Remember that influence grows from consistency. If you are calm one day and explosive the next, people feel uncertain around you. Consistent steadiness builds trust. Humor can sometimes diffuse provocation if used wisely. A light response delivered calmly can shift the mood. However, avoid sarcasm that may escalate tension. Avoid raising your voice. Raising volume often signals loss of control. Maintain your composure, even if the other person becomes louder. In moments of intense provocation, it may be wise to step away briefly. Say, "I would like to continue this conversation after we both cool down." That shows maturity. Staying steady also requires forgiveness. Holding on to resentment increases sensitivity to provocation. Let go of minor offenses. Save your energy for meaningful matters. Your goal is not to appear emotionless. It is to appear composed. Emotions are human. Control makes them powerful rather than destructive. Over time, you will notice that provocations lose their sting. Your threshold for disturbance increases. What once upset you deeply may no longer affect you. That is growth. Influence is not about overpowering others. It is about guiding situations with stability. When you remain steady, you become a stabilizing force in the room. People feel safe around stability. They trust it. They follow it. Each time you choose composure over reaction, you strengthen your character. Each time you refuse to be pulled into chaos, you protect your influence. Stay grounded. Breathe deeply. Speak calmly. Maintain eye contact. Set clear boundaries without aggression. Let others lose control if they choose to. You do not have to join them. Strength is quiet. Confidence is steady. Influence is built on self-control. When others try to provoke you, your calm response becomes your power.
Chapter 8. Build mental strength through small daily challenges. Mental strength is not built in dramatic moments. It is not created during one big crisis or one major breakthrough. It is built quietly, in ordinary days, through small decisions that most people ignore. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must train your mind daily. You must give it challenges that stretch it. You must teach it to handle discomfort without breaking. Most people wait for motivation before they act. They say they will start when they feel ready. They say they will push themselves when the time is right. But mental strength does not grow from comfort. It grows from deliberate effort. Start with small daily challenges. Wake up when your alarm rings instead of pressing snooze. Finish tasks you begin. Speak up once in a meeting when you would normally stay silent. Have a difficult conversation you have been avoiding. These actions may seem minor, but they shape your self-image. Each time you do something slightly uncomfortable, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. That proof builds confidence. Confidence builds strength. Mental weakness often shows up as avoidance. Avoiding hard tasks, avoiding criticism, avoiding responsibility. The more you avoid, the smaller your world becomes. But when you move towards small challenges, your world expands. Choose one daily task that requires discipline. It might be reading for 30 minutes instead of scrolling through your phone. It might be exercising when you feel tired. It might be organizing your workspace when you would rather ignore it. These acts build self-control. Self-control strengthens your ability to think clearly under pressure. When you train your mind to do what is necessary rather than what is easy, you gain authority over yourself.
Discomfort is a teacher. When you step outside your routine, your mind reacts. It may resist, it may complain. Notice that resistance, then act anyway. Acting despite discomfort increases resilience. Resilience allows you to recover quickly from setbacks. When challenges come unexpectedly, you are prepared because you have practiced handling smaller ones. Consider how athletes train. They do not wait for competition to test themselves. They train daily. They push their limits gradually. Your mind deserves the same training. Mental strength also grows from keeping promises to yourself. If you decide to complete a task, complete it. When you break small commitments, you weaken trust in yourself. When you honor them, you strengthen it. Trust in yourself is essential for influence. If you do not trust your own discipline, it is difficult to project confidence. Small challenges should be intentional. Do not overwhelm yourself. Choose manageable tasks that stretch you slightly beyond comfort. Over time, increase the level of difficulty. Another powerful practice is facing minor fears regularly. If you feel nervous introducing yourself to new people, make it a habit. If you avoid public speaking, start with small groups. Repeated exposure reduces fear. Mental strength is closely tied to consistency. Doing something once feels good. Doing it repeatedly builds character. Character shapes reputation. When you develop the habit of completing small challenges, you change your identity. You begin to see yourself as disciplined. You begin to see yourself as capable. That identity shift affects how you speak and act. Challenges also sharpen focus. When you set daily goals, your mind learns to prioritize. You waste less time. You become more efficient. Another daily challenge is controlling distractions. Put your phone away during work. Focus fully on one task at a time. This builds concentration. Strong concentration improves decision-making. Reflection strengthens mental growth. At the end of each day, review your actions. Did you complete your chosen challenge? If not, understand why. Adjust tomorrow. Reflection turns experience into learning. Mental strength is not about suppressing emotion. It is about managing it. When you feel frustration during a task, stay with it instead of quitting. That endurance strengthens patience. Patience improves communication. When you are patient, you listen better. When you are patient, you think before speaking. Small acts of courage also build strength. Admit mistakes openly. Take responsibility when things go wrong. Courage in small moments prepares you for larger tests. Routine matters. Create structure in your day. Structure reduces chaos. When your schedule supports your goals, your mind feels stable. Avoid comparing your progress to others. Focus on your own growth. Small improvements accumulate over time. Mental strength also grows from gratitude. Acknowledge what is working in your life. Gratitude shifts perspective. It reduces unnecessary negativity. Another daily challenge is controlling your reactions to minor inconveniences. When plans change unexpectedly, adapt calmly. When you encounter delays, remain patient. These small responses build emotional control. Discipline in physical habits supports mental strength. Maintain healthy sleep patterns. Eat nourishing food. Care for your body. A strong body supports a strong mind. When you build mental strength through daily challenges, you prepare yourself for larger opportunities. You speak with more authority. You handle criticism with more stability. You pursue goals with more persistence. Remember that growth feels uncomfortable at first. Do not interpret discomfort as failure. Interpret it as progress. Celebrate small victories. Completing a task you once avoided is progress. Speaking confidently in a meeting is progress. Maintaining calm during stress is progress. Over time, these small wins accumulate. They create momentum. Momentum fuels confidence. Your influence increases when others see your consistency. They observe your discipline. They notice your reliability. They trust your leadership. Mental strength is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Some days will be harder than others. Continue anyway. Commit to one small challenge each day. Keep it simple. Keep it consistent. Allow the habit to compound. Strength built gradually lasts longer than strength built suddenly. Quiet discipline produces lasting results. When you train your mind daily, you transform your behavior. When your behavior improves, your outcomes improve. Choose discomfort intentionally. Choose growth deliberately. Choose consistency daily. Over time, you will notice a change. Situations that once overwhelmed you will feel manageable. Conversations that once intimidated you will feel natural. That is the power of small daily challenges. They build mental strength quietly, steadily, and permanently. Chapter 9. Influence decisions by understanding hidden human motives. If you want to influence decisions at a higher level, you must understand something most people ignore. Human beings rarely decide based on logic alone. They explain their choices with logic, but they are moved by deeper motives. If you speak only to surface reasons, your impact will be limited. If you understand what truly drives people, your influence becomes powerful. Every person carries hidden motives. These motives are not secrets in a dramatic sense. They are internal needs: the need to feel important, the need to feel safe, the need to belong, the need to grow, the need to avoid pain. These forces shape behavior every day. When someone says they want a higher salary, the deeper motive may be security. When someone argues strongly in a meeting, the deeper motive may be recognition. When someone resists change, the deeper motive may be fear of uncertainty. If you respond only to the words spoken, you may miss the real issue. Influence begins with curiosity. Instead of trying to push your idea immediately, ask yourself what matters most to the other person. What are they protecting? What are they hoping for? What are they afraid of losing? Observe patterns. Notice what topics excite them. Notice what makes them tense. Notice how they describe success. These details reveal values. People want to feel understood. When you acknowledge their underlying concerns, you build trust. Trust opens the door to influence. For example, imagine you want to propose a new project at work. If you present only the technical benefits, you may fail to persuade. But if you recognize that your manager values efficiency and reputation, you can frame your idea around improved results and positive visibility. You connect your proposal to their priorities. That connection increases agreement. Understanding motives requires listening beyond words. Pay attention to emphasis. When someone repeats a concern multiple times, it likely reflects something important to them. Explore it gently. Ask questions that invite deeper explanation. Avoid manipulation. Influence built on deception eventually collapses. Genuine understanding creates lasting impact. Human beings also make decisions based on identity. People act in ways that protect how they see themselves. If someone views themselves as careful and responsible, they may hesitate to take risks. If someone sees themselves as innovative, they may embrace new ideas quickly. When presenting a suggestion, align it with their identity. Show how the decision supports who they believe they are. Emotion plays a central role in decision-making. A person who feels respected is more open. A person who feels attacked becomes resistant. Maintain respect throughout discussions. Even disagreement can be handled with dignity. Another hidden motive is the desire for control. Many individuals fear losing control over outcomes. If your proposal makes them feel powerless, they may reject it. Offer choices. Involve them in the process. Shared ownership increases acceptance. Security is a strong driver. In uncertain situations, people prioritize safety. If your idea introduces change, address risks clearly. Show preparation. Demonstrate that you have considered potential challenges. This reduces anxiety. Recognition is another powerful motive. Acknowledge contributions. Give credit publicly when appropriate. When people feel valued, they become supportive. Belonging influences behavior deeply. In group settings, people often align with majority opinion to avoid isolation. If you want to influence a group decision, build alliances gradually. Gain support from key individuals before presenting publicly. Fear of embarrassment can also shape decisions. Some people resist ideas because they worry about appearing uninformed. Provide information in a way that protects their dignity. Avoid exposing gaps in knowledge harshly. Timing matters. When someone is stressed or distracted, their ability to evaluate ideas decreases. Choose moments when they are calm and focused. Influence also requires self-awareness. Examine your own motives. If your desire is driven by ego rather than shared benefit, others may sense it. Align your goals with mutual gain. Clarity strengthens persuasion. Confusion creates hesitation. Present your points simply. Support them with relevant evidence. Avoid overwhelming people with unnecessary detail. Stories can reveal motives more effectively than statistics. Sharing a real example allows people to imagine outcomes emotionally. Be patient. Rarely does a single conversation change a decision completely. Influence often develops through multiple interactions. Consistency builds credibility. Observe non-verbal signals during discussions. Leaning forward may indicate interest. Crossed arms may indicate resistance. Adjust your approach accordingly. Ask open-ended questions to uncover deeper reasons. Instead of asking, "Do you agree?" ask, "What concerns do you have about this?" This invites honesty. When someone expresses hesitation, avoid dismissing it. Address it respectfully. Showing that you take their concerns seriously increases cooperation. Influence also involves understanding incentives. What does the other person gain from agreeing with you? Highlight mutual benefits clearly. Avoid pressuring people excessively. Pressure often creates resistance. Confidence combined with patience is more effective. Shared goals create alignment. Identify common objectives before discussing differences. When people see shared direction, they become more flexible. Respect autonomy. Even if you strongly believe in your idea, recognize that others have the right to choose. Influence is about guiding, not forcing. When you understand motives, you anticipate objections. Preparation allows you to respond calmly and effectively. Integrity must remain central. Influence without integrity damages trust. Long-term success depends on credibility. Practice observing daily interactions. Notice why people choose certain restaurants, careers, or friendships. Patterns reveal motives. Understanding hidden motives enhances empathy. Empathy strengthens communication. Strong communication increases influence. Reflect on past conversations where persuasion failed. Ask yourself what motive you may have overlooked. Learning from experience refines your skill. Confidence combined with insight creates authority. When people feel that you understand them deeply, they listen. Human motives are complex but consistent. Safety, respect, belonging, growth, recognition. Address these needs and your message gains strength. Influence decisions by seeing beyond surface arguments. Listen carefully. Respond thoughtfully. When you align your message with what truly drives others, agreement feels natural rather than forced. Influence is not about control, it is about connection. Connection built on understanding creates lasting impact.
Chapter 10. Strengthen your identity through consistent daily discipline. Your identity is not built in one dramatic moment. It is shaped quietly by what you do every single day, not what you promise, not what you plan, not what you talk about, what you actually do when no one is watching. If you want to think, speak, and influence like a pro, you must strengthen your identity through consistent daily discipline. Most people try to change their results without changing their habits. They want confidence without preparation. They want respect without effort. They want influence without self-control. That path never works for long. Real strength comes from repetition. Identity is the story you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who quits when things get hard, you will act accordingly. If you see yourself as someone who follows through, your behavior aligns with that belief. The powerful part is this: you build that story through daily discipline. Each disciplined action sends a message to your mind. When you wake up at the time you decided, you reinforce reliability. When you complete a task, even when you do not feel like it, you reinforce commitment. When you keep your word to yourself, you reinforce integrity. Small actions create internal evidence. That evidence becomes identity. Discipline is not punishment, it is structure. It is choosing what matters long-term over what feels good in the moment. It is deciding that your future is more important than temporary comfort. Think about the person you want to become: confident, calm, respected, focused. That version of you is not created by occasional bursts of motivation. It is created by steady habits repeated over months and years. Start with simple daily standards. Set a time to begin your day. Keep your environment organized. Prioritize important tasks before distractions. Speak honestly. Finish what you start. These practices may seem basic, but they build a strong foundation. Consistency matters more than intensity. Doing something extreme once does not change identity. Doing something moderate every day does. Repetition builds belief. When you consistently act with discipline, your self-respect grows. Self-respect changes how you carry yourself. It changes how you speak. It changes how you make decisions. People sense when someone respects themselves. It shows in posture. It shows in tone. It shows in boundaries.
Daily discipline also protects you from emotional instability. When your routines are stable, your mind feels grounded. Structure reduces chaos. One powerful form of discipline is time management. Decide how you will use your hours. Do not leave your day to chance. Plan it, execute it, review it. This creates clarity. Another area is physical health. Exercise regularly, eat with intention, rest properly. A strong body supports a strong identity. Financial discipline builds confidence as well. Manage your money wisely, save consistently, avoid unnecessary debt. Financial stability reduces stress and increases focus. Intellectual discipline is equally important. Read daily, learn continuously, expand your perspective. Knowledge strengthens authority. Emotional discipline completes the picture. Manage your reactions. Speak with control. Avoid impulsive decisions. Emotional steadiness reinforces maturity. Each category supports identity. When you combine them, your self-image strengthens naturally. Avoid seeking shortcuts. Quick fixes rarely create lasting change. Focus on steady progress. Track your habits. Write them down. Measure your consistency. Visibility increases accountability. There will be days when you feel tired or discouraged. Discipline matters most on those days. Acting despite low motivation builds resilience. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Start with what you have. Improve gradually. Identity shifts when your actions contradict old patterns. If you once avoided responsibility, begin accepting it daily. If you once procrastinated, start tasks immediately. Over time, your mind updates its self-perception. Speak about yourself in alignment with your disciplined behavior. Instead of saying you are trying to improve, say you are improving through daily action. Language reinforces identity. Surround yourself with individuals who value discipline. Environment influences behavior. Being around focused people raises your standards. Limit exposure to habits that weaken your discipline. Excessive distractions, negative conversations, and poor routines erode identity. Review your progress weekly. Celebrate consistency. Adjust where necessary. Reflection maintains momentum. Remember that discipline is a form of self-care. It protects your future. It strengthens your confidence. Influence grows when people observe your consistency. They see reliability. They see commitment. They trust your leadership. You cannot command respect through words alone. You earn it through disciplined living. Your identity should not depend on temporary success. It should depend on daily standards. If you commit to reading daily, you become a learner. If you commit to exercise daily, you become healthy. If you commit to honest communication, you become trustworthy. Identity becomes stable when supported by habits. Avoid comparing your pace to others. Focus on your own path. Consistency compounds over time. Discipline also teaches patience. Results may not appear immediately. Stay committed. When setbacks occur, return to your routines quickly. Do not allow one mistake to define your trajectory. Strengthened identity produces stronger decisions. Strong decisions create better outcomes. Each morning offers a choice. Drift through the day or direct it. Choose direction. Each evening offers reflection. Evaluate your actions. Reinforce standards. Your future self is built through today's discipline. Commit to simple daily actions. Protect your routines. Maintain focus. As days turn into months, you will notice a shift. You will feel more grounded. Your confidence will feel earned rather than forced. People will respond differently to you. They will sense stability. They will sense purpose. Strengthen your identity through consistent daily discipline. Let your actions speak louder than your intentions. Over time, you will not just act disciplined, you will become disciplined, and that identity will shape every area of your life.